Welcome to Wake Up Call for the Soul with Bill and Wendy. Hi, Bill.
Hey, Wendy.
Well, it is good once again to be with you here today talking about our next episode, which I'm very excited about because this title caught my eye. I have friends everywhere. Because I know last week when we spoke, we talked about some of the challenges I was having, of course, yes, with the news and just things going on in the world. But I feel like you made me feel better at the end. And now this one, I have friends everywhere, I'm excited about.
Yeah, so after we recorded our last episode and I was editing it and I came across the words, "We are everywhere," I was reminded of this line. It's one of my favorite lines from one of my favorite franchises, which is the Star Wars franchise, and my favorite streaming series, which is Andor, which is obviously part of the Star Wars franchise. When I heard those words in that last episode, "We are everywhere," I was reminded of this line from Andor, which is, "I have friends everywhere." It's a passphrase that lets other rebels know that they're dealing with rebels that they can trust.
So it's like the password. What's the password or the passcode? Yes.
Right. We do have friends everywhere, and I think that most people don't know this. And part of that is because of ignorance, and part of it is by design. And so in this episode, I thought, well, maybe we should talk about who some of these friends that we have everywhere are, and to some extent, maybe how do we elicit their help? How do we ask for it?
Yes, because this idea of having friends everywhere is very exciting.
Yeah, it is to me too.
So, who are our friends, Bill? Let's dig right in.
I kind of worked up a list and I was trying to keep this list to people, to beings, entities, energies, consciousness that I, in some way, shape, or form, have had some awareness of. And there are many more friends that we have everywhere that will not be talked about in this episode because I have friends who know these friends, but I don't perceive these friends yet. I don't have my own perceptions of them. So I'm going to save that hopefully for future episodes when I become more consciously aware of these friends and I can say, hey, I made some new friends today.
Okay, Bill, who are your friends?
Yeah, so our friends are very diverse. So the first one is, I think it's pretty obvious, and it's the meaning of "I have friends everywhere" from Andor, the embodied children of the earth, what we would call human beings, people who exist in biological bodies on this planet. I'm guessing in the age of the internet in particular, a lot of us have friends all over the planet now, which is part of what's awesome about it. And then I'm going to mention divinity, which we've talked about. That was who is source. That episode, we've referred to this ultimate reality, this ground of being, the source of life and love. That is our universal cosmic friend who is everywhere, is available everywhere. And so I just want to give a shout out to divinity.
Shout out to Divinity Source and our episode 7.
And then I put on here too our planet Earth, Mother Earth. She's the mother of our materiality. We wouldn't be here without her. And one of the things that I always think of when I think about how much she wants to help is that when we touch the earth through earthing or grounding, we receive energies directly from the planet. And more people are coming to be aware of that. But I just want to include her in here, that she is very willing to help all those who are desiring to bring greater life and love and harmony and unity through their existence. All right, and I've included elementals in here. And elementals are kind of these aspects or facets of creation that in their own way desire to help us. So I don't think of them so much as beings. I don't really experience them that way. But the typical ones that a lot of people are aware of are things like earth, fire, air, water.
How is the earth elemental different from the earth?
Yeah, so the earth elemental, as an example, is that it has this solidity to it. So it is kind of the essence, the energy, the consciousness, the awareness of solidity, of grounding, of anchoring, of strength. If I'm seeking to be really grounded and centered in any given moment, I can call upon the help of the earth elemental to help me anchor within this space in this moment to stand firm.
So slightly different than Mother Earth.
Yeah, Mother Earth is this massive planet, all of her aspects,
Okay.
which she has as a part of her all of these different elementals, but she is greater than the sum of all of those elementals together.
Okay.
Next on the list was just, I'll call it biological life, animals, plants, minerals, fungi, bacteria, that there are all of these aspects of creation, they desire to respond to us in helpful ways. I mean, the number of times in my life that I have received information from, say, animals through their messages, through observing their behavior, I can't count those. Just understand that all the life on this planet is not actually our enemy. It's not against us. It's
Yeah.
actually for us. It's trying to help us. And most of us have no idea that this is actually the case, except maybe in the case of our dogs.
And I also think of the book, The Giving Tree. It's a lovely story about a tree helping a little boy.
There you go. Yeah, and then so now to some other friends that we have everywhere that we may or may not be as aware of. I will call the next group of friends bright spirits. So these are the spirits of people who used to live on this planet. They continue to interact with human beings in this planet in different ways. They are either in a state of what we might call purification, or they might be what we would call progressive spirits, spirits who are in their own way progressing toward greater light, toward greater love. And these spirits, in their own ways, according to their own gifts and desires, desire to help us, again, when they become aware of our need or our desire for help.
We might even think of those who have passed on, our friends and family that are bright spirits that are out there versus the dark spirits out there.
Mm-hmm. These bright spirits for me also include, for most people, what we would call guardian angels.
Mm-hmm.
That's a type of bright spirit that I think a lot of people are more familiar with. All right, and then the next group that I have on here are what I will call angels of divine love. So these are people who used to live on this planet who have gone through this progressive transformation from naturally created beings to a complete supplantation of their natural created nature with the essence of divinity that source creator gives to those who seek it. And so these are beings of great power, light, and love who tend to help us very much, particularly when it comes to our spiritual growth and development, and also in the communication of greater and higher truths as well. And that's the word angel means messenger, and that is part of what they are messaging, is this unconditional love of source and also the truths that flow from that source of all.
And I like, Bill, that you make this distinction, bright spirits versus angels of divine love, because a lot of people would just lump them all together, that they're angels or they're people in the afterlife. But you have made a distinction that there are those angels that are bringing the divine essence, the source love to us, and have taken that path to become transformed.
Yeah, I just feel it's important because I perceive a significant difference and distinction, even though these entities can exist on a continuum. For example, many of the bright spirits are actually spirits who are on their way to becoming angels of divine love. They're just not there yet, but they still have wonderful capacities to help and to serve those who desire help.
Okay.
This last group that I'm going to put on here, it's one of my favorites, and it's one of the groups that I've become aware of more recently than some of the others, and that is the friends that I will call stellar friends or star friends. And these are people from other planets who are here to help us. And so I have actually become aware of their existence, and I've become aware that they're not just working on their own. So this podcast is all about harmony and unity. What a lot of people don't understand is that everything that I listed here and a whole bunch more energies, entities, and beings are working together in absolute harmony as we speak. So stellar friends are working with angels of divine love, who are working with bright spirits, who are working with the earth and the elementals and with human beings. All of this stuff is happening simultaneously. So this is how I can feel confident that we are everywhere and that I have friends everywhere. And you, dear listeners, have friends everywhere, whether you know it or not.
That is very exciting, Bill, because we often feel alone and isolated, and we do that to ourselves. But a lot of our technologies and our development here on earth has put us into separate boxes and has separated us, but we are all unified. And then this bigger picture of having friends everywhere is so exciting. And I do believe this. This is, I maybe don't always think of the elementals, but that is an interesting idea as well. And life, bacteria, really, is it helping us? But I get that picture because it is helping us. The good bacteria in our bodies is keeping us healthy. So all of this is working together. And then, of course, these bright spirits and angels of divine love and stellar friends out there helping us. So that is very exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting to me. And when I say I have friends everywhere, I don't mean I have friends everywhere on earth.
Yes.
This is true. And yet, I have friends everywhere, meaning I've got friends over hundreds of billions of light years.
So you have taken it to the next level over Andor.
I'd like to think so, because I think when he says I have friends everywhere, he's at least talking about the galactic empire.
Yes.
So in the galactic empire, he has friends everywhere, meaning all kinds of different beings from all kinds of different planets.
Good. Now, do they just help us automatically, or how do we ask for help?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we have to do. We have to ask for help because the highest forces in the cosmos all honor free will choice. So they require us in some way to ask for help, to express our desire for help so that then they can respond to us. I thought in this episode, maybe talking about a couple of different, we can call them truths or spiritual laws, might make sense in the context of I have friends everywhere. Because just because I have friends everywhere doesn't mean that I know how to ask for their help, how to receive it, and even how to recognize it when it comes.
It makes me think of, for example, I know people. I know a lot of people in this world just throughout my life and all the interactions and all the people I've met, but are they friends? Have I asked them for help? So there is a difference. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So the first law that I'm going to mention here, or truth, whatever you want to call it, a universal principle, is the law of attraction. And I attempted to simplify the definition of this, as I try to do in this podcast. So for me, for the purposes of this episode, I will call the law of attraction those things which are most alike in sympathetic harmonic resonance are most attracted to each other. Simple, right?
Well, and you even think of your friends. You have common interests. So you are attracted to each other. It might not be romantically, but it's just the interests that we share.
For example, if I desire help, the law of attraction is really powered by desire. And there are a couple of different places where desires come from. In this podcast, what we have been emphasizing are the desires that come from our deepest aspects, from the wholeness of our being, what we might call the soul or the core self. And so if I express those desires from the depths of my being, then I am able to tap into a higher, more powerful, more subtle, energetic harmonic that invites others to perceive, oh, somebody's looking for my kind of help over here, and I can attract that help. And again, I don't have to be specific. I shared all of these things. Just, we have an episode titled, I Have Friends Everywhere. I thought people might want to have an idea of who in general conceptually some of these friends might be. Now we're talking about, well, but if I express this desire for help, I can be specific and I can say, Earth, help me. Elementals, help me. Angels of divine love, help me. If that's helpful to us or we like doing that, that's great. But the most important thing is expressing the desire for help, saying, I need help. And to also express that desire for help with as much faith and trust that we can. Just like we talked about in the practice episode and talking about source. the more we are willing to express these things and then to have at least some type of hope or faith or trust that a response is forthcoming, helps that connection to be made, for the attraction to actually bring the help, and then for us to allow the help to flow in a way that we might be able to perceive or experience either in real time or at some future point when we're ready to. So the other law that I thought it would make sense to mention here, and it's similar but a bit more specific, is I'll call it the law of activation. That's how I've come to know it. And when we express these deep desires, there's actually this law where when we express these things, Source is tuned in, particularly when we are expressing these things from our deepest aspects, from, let's say, our soul, our core self. Source is aware of these things, and then Source has kind of this infinite playbook where Source, if the request is like I talked about in the practice episode, if I'm saying, Source, I really desire your divine essence to come into my being, this is what I want. Well, Source is like, you got it, kiddo. I'm giving it to you because you've made your desire clear, and Source can take care of that response to the desire instantaneously through Source's own self. But then there are other things that people might be desiring in a given moment. It could be some other kind of spiritual help or guidance or insight. Well, Source might then, through the law of activation, send out kind of a signal throughout the cosmos, throughout the whole cosmos, saying, hey, kiddo over here needs this kind of help. Will you help a kid out? And so depending on the development of these various friends that we have, they will pick up on that signal, and whoever that signal is most intended for, that they resonate best with, they'll follow that signal and then offer the help that is being desired. So that could be an animal gets the signal. It's like, oh, okay, I'm going to help this guy out. It could be a bright spirit. It could be one of our celestial divine love angel friends. It could be a stellar friend. There's no limit to this stuff. And so that's part of the fun of it, is that I can send my desires directly to Source, and Source can send out the signal, and then whoever is the best one to help me in that moment, or it could be more than one. For example, some angel could pick up the signal and they're like, oh, wow, what he needs, I can help with that, but I need to get several other friends. So they get their several other friends together to come together and to provide that help, because they can't do it on their own. They know they can't do that. And so this is part of this multi-dimensional cosmic community that we're a part of, that all of this help is available for those who ask. And again, I'm inviting people to ask from the depths of their being so that they can attract and activate the highest forms of help available.
And once you start paying attention to these things too, I think you notice them more, because it so many times happens to me where I'll be thinking about someone or something, and then this just happened yesterday. I was thinking about something, and then I got a call from someone else who was thinking about the same thing. And that was pretty amazing. So there are these energies and this activation and this flow going on all the time. I'm sure that it has happened to lots of people out there listening too, where they think of someone and they call, or they think of someone and they get a sign from nature or the elements. So this is already out there that a lot of us are aware of. But I think what you're saying makes so much sense, because it really paints this bigger picture for us of all these things going on around us that we don't even realize, that we need to shift our focus more towards asking for what we want, for attracting things, for being the kind of human beings that can be a part of this whole unity. Because we're a friend too. Not only do we have friends everywhere, but we are called to be a friend to the world, to our community, to nature, to Mother Earth, and to Source.
Yeah, and this friendship, and so that's why things like the practice that I engage in are so important, because as we engage in these practices, as we develop ourselves, as we allow ourselves to be changed and transformed by what is available to help us, we can be better helpers. We can get clearer signals from Source through that law of activation we ourselves then become the messengers, the bringers of love, of truth, of healing, of help, whatever it is, to your point, Wendy, and that our ability to offer help in more timely ways, in more powerful and effective ways, increases with our level of spiritual development. So, again, these signals of activation are radiating throughout the cosmos constantly because so many beings from so many planets, dimensions, and realities are asking for help. And the idea is that each soul is unique, each being, entity, energy, consciousness is unique, and they're going to tune into those things that resonate with their desire to help, with their ability to help. And so this is this vast cosmic orchestra going on of all of these signals in harmony, helping to bring even greater levels of harmony and beauty and goodness into not only our lives, but throughout the vastness of all that exists.
It is also exciting because when I was younger, as I've told the listeners, I grew up in a church. My dad was a pastor, but I didn't necessarily buy into everything that was being taught to us. But one thing that I always remember is that I felt like I don't need angels and maybe even Jesus because I have God. I can go directly to source, God, I spoke of back then. So that was who I prayed to or spent time with and communed with. But as I grew older and met you and heard about this idea of talking to the angels even or putting out that desire, it really expanded me even more to realize that yeah, the angels can help us. And maybe even recently, I don't always think about these stellar friends. I don't know if I believed in stellar friends back in the day, but I'm more open now. So, boy, if there's stellar friends that are going to help me too, that's great. And I love this idea of looking to Mother Earth. I mean, your idea makes a lot of sense because I know we're all connected. I feel it more and more in my soul every day that we are all part of this wonderful universe. And there is a source, and source wants what's best for us and for us all to grow and thrive and work together.
Yeah, and everybody's different. Some people are really wired to always take everything directly to source. That's fine. Source will handle the details. Source has a whole system.
Okay, so I wasn't too messed up as a kid.
And then, and then as I've gotten to know different friends more specifically, now, because I used to just be a source only kind of guy.
Yeah.
But as I've become aware of the help, and as many of these beings, energies, entities, consciousnesses have become clearer to me in their existence and in their desire to help, it's a more mixed bag for me in a good way, where sometimes I'm like, you know what? I know so and so is really good with X, and I'm going to ask them for help in this case. And they have encouraged me to do so. They have encouraged me to reach out to them for help with certain kinds of things. Or some of them have said, whatever you need help with, I'm here for you, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I've kind of I've diversified my thing because I used to be source only. That was it. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong at all. I think it's a great starting place. And where I'm at now is just like whatever I feel inspired to ask for help from, I'm going there.
But this idea that you are not alone. That's what my dad always said when he closed the benediction at church. You're not alone because the love of source goes with you today, tomorrow, and through eternity. And he would say other things too, but that was a powerful message that I heard when I grew up.
Yeah, and he was talking about the Trinity. He used the Trinity as this symbol, this metaphor for the availability of help and everything that we need. And what we've done in this episode is we've just kind of expanded it beyond those kind of three ideas into a much more diverse and cosmic, multi-dimensional, I would say, family of friends.
Right. And they say you never can have too many friends. Now it's hard to form those relationships, but if we're talking spirit people, that's easy to form relationships. They're all around us, willing to help us. That sounds good to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess, maybe in wrapping this up a little bit, I had the idea to maybe share a little bit of information in terms of how do we recognize that we're receiving the help that we asked for and things, because sometimes it can be hard to know
Yeah.
whether we
Or we
are.
get down because we don't see it.
Yeah. And sometimes the help we get is very obvious, very powerful, very in the moment, where you would have to be a really hard-hearted person to say, that's not help. That has nothing to do with any friends from anywhere or anything like that. So sometimes it's very obvious, but a lot of times, especially when we are asking for help from the depths of our being, from these higher forces in the cosmos, the help may come in a very subtle way, where it could be, I'm down in the dumps. And then, well, I don't really want to be down in the dumps. A little help, please.
Yeah.
And my attitude shifts, my perspective shifts. I see things from a different perspective. Well, I just got help. I didn't do that on my own. I asked for help and I got it. And that's another thing. So many people on the planet, they don't understand how they're getting help or how help is being offered to them all the time. And they're clueless about it. They're like, oh, I got this idea. Oh, you got that idea. No, the idea was given to you to help you. You didn't come up with it. We're not that smart. We got help from someone, something, or a whole bunch of something and someone else's with these things that we're trying to do. And yeah, it's fine for people to take credit for that stuff. But again, this episode is about consciousness raising. So, if you think you came up with a brilliant idea on your own, you probably didn't. You had help. Yeah, and if you happen to come across any, whether it's a person in the flesh or a spirit or any being or entity, I mean, if you are concerned about who is in front of you, who you're perceiving, and whether they are an actual friend or something else, because unfortunately, in the conditions on this planet at this time, there are, as Wendy, as you said earlier, there are certain forces that are not interested in what is best for us. And so if you have doubts, I invite you to trust your feelings, to have a sense. Is what I'm perceiving warm and welcoming, or is it kind of hard and cold or intellectual? Do I feel better in their presence or worse? And sometimes when we see or perceive someone new or different, we might get scared or afraid because it's just different. Our mind might have this fear response. What happens with that, if you're perceiving someone or something and you have that fear response and they come closer to you, they're not your friend. If you have that response and they withdraw from you, if they back away, perceiving your fear response, then you're dealing with a friend. Because darker forces, they'll kind of draw closer to you when you're afraid. But brighter forces, when you're afraid, they will back up to be like, oh, okay, I just want you to know I'm friendly, like peace, and sort of a thing. So these are just some ways to be aware of who we're dealing with. Because again, in the conditions on this planet, it's not always obvious who we're dealing with. I've come across people who think they're dealing with friends, and based on what they tell me, they are not dealing with friends. They have been deceived into thinking these entities are their friends, and they are not their friends. They are sucking the life out of them.
Well, that makes sense, because even as a human being, if someone's afraid of me, I'm not going to keep pressing or moving towards them. I'm going to give them space.
Right. Oh, it's very common sense when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't sense spirits. I mean, I never felt myself as one to sense their presence. Yeah, and some people are better at sensing spirits than others. And there's nothing wrong, good or bad, about that. It's just some people are tapped in more to these different realms.
Yeah.
And if you are, you have to be more careful, because there's lots of friends. And then, as you said, not our friends.
Yeah. And I mean, those other ones who aren't our friends, it's not personal.
No.
They're just, they don't know any better.
Right. Hopefully someday they will be our friends.
Yeah. And I mean, at a deeper level, they are our friends, because even those who come into our lives, they are offering us, in an unconscious way, opportunities and lessons for growth and development and learning. So, yeah, just invite people to be calm, as you can be, as open-hearted and gentle-minded, receptive, letting go of the all the thinking, the thoughts, the fears, the doubts, the limitations, the ideas of worthiness or deservingness, and allowing ourselves to feel, to perceive and to feel who and what is around us and available. If we ask for help from the depths of our beings and we don't perceive it in this moment, I just invite us to be open and receptive, because I have perceived over the course of my life that sometimes it's taken me days, weeks, months, even in some cases years, to realize that I asked for help. And it wasn't until years later where I'm like, oh my gosh, that was the help I asked for, but I couldn't recognize it because it didn't look the way I wanted it to or expected it to. Yeah. So I invite us to let go of our expectations about how help will show up, even who will show up to help us. It's best just to be open and to not put limitations on who and what can help us, and even how that help can manifest, and even how we might become aware that that help has been offered. Yeah, I'm very grateful to have friends everywhere, to know that I have friends everywhere, and that the biggest challenge I have is remembering to ask for help so that I might receive it and benefit from it.
Well, and I think you summed it up nicely there, Bill. Just to remind people that you are not alone. You have friends everywhere. And as Bill said, asking for that help, whether it be mentally or in your soul's desire. And these friends will help us. I mean, you don't have to maybe agree with all of Bill's friends, and maybe you have more friends out there that he hasn't even spoken about. But I think just being more open to this reality that we're all connected. There's living beings and elementals and the earth and life in this world and other worlds that are out there helping us. We are not alone. We have friends everywhere.
Indeed, we do. And I'm so grateful to be aware of more and more of these friends and their wonderful diversity, and to know that they're all working together. They're not isolated, because that's the story that we think in terms of isolation
And
and
we've told
limitations and
ourselves over the
barriers.
years. Yeah.
And none of it's true. They're all working together. They're all working in harmony, doing everything they can to help us. And they're, in their own way, excited for us to come play the same game, that we can come and play this game of being friends, part of this friend network throughout the vastness of all that exists.
Well, that's so exciting, Bill. And it's been great talking to you today.
Always a pleasure, Wendy.
You know what, Bill? You are not alone. You've got friends everywhere.
You, Wendy, you've got friends everywhere too.
Until next time.
Until next time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Wake Up Call for the Soul with Bill and Wendy. We look forward to you joining us next time.